in the Word, because the program is Inside the Health Word. And today in the Word, we are going to be looking at Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We know that mental health is something that is being neglected by so many people in our society. Thank God that there is a month like this for men, and we have experts here that are going to tell us more about this topic. With us here, we have Ruth Amin, who is a public health specialist. It's a pleasure to be with you today, Ruth.
Thank you also, Madam Alice, for having me.
Okay. We also have this beautiful lady making her maiden edition here on this program, Kum Minerva. She's a nurse. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Madam Alice.
Okay. All right. We are talking about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I'll start with you, Ruth, to tell us about the definition of health and mental health.
Okay, so according to the World Health Organization, which is an institution, health it's recognized as the ability for one to be completely socially, physical, and emotionally fit, and not just the absence of disease. Which means that if one of these components is absent, then one is not considered healthy. Then now, when we talk about mental health, it's the ability of one to be able to recognize your abilities, give back to the society, and be able to make contributions to their society. Meaning that what? Meaning that at a certain point in time, if someone is not being able to use their abilities to, first of all, recognize those abilities, use it, and give back to their society, then we can say that this person is not optimum in their mental health abilities. Okay, thank you.
Let me come to you. Do you think that mental health is something that is being given the much needed attention that is supposed to be given, especially in Cameroon?
For now, I think mental health has really not been given the much attention that is needed, because mental health is a very important aspect of the health of an individual. And without mental health, an individual cannot say the person is healthy. So I really celebrate today, I celebrate this month, I celebrate the World Health Organization for putting us aside a month like this where men's mental health is being recognized and celebrated. So it goes highway to be able to create much awareness about mental health, which has really been neglected.
All right, thank you. Ruth, why is it important for us to discuss mental health?
Over the years, we have seen that a lot of, due to this gender inequality, a lot of exposure, a lot of light has been thrown to that of the females. So men have kind of been neglected. So this month, by the World Health Organization, was declared as Men's Mental Health Month, and it's very important because mental health now is getting at the level is a pandemic. And if it's affecting the society, then definitely it's affecting men. And why it is crucial today is because the men themselves are not even aware. The men themselves are not aware that they have to take care of their mental health, and they are pushing it by the corner. There's this stigma that society has created that men, since they are the stronger gender, we'll put it that way, men have to be strong, men don't cry, men have to take all of the stresses of life upon themselves. So it is really important that this month we try to create the awareness. Many men are not even aware that this June is finishing on Monday. Many of them are not even aware that June is Men's Mental Health Month. So it's really, really important for us to sensitize, create this awareness, talk about the coping strategies, and also it's very, very important.
All right, thank you. Men are very busy. There are people like she has Ruth have just said here, they do a lot of things and people expect them to be very strong. Okay. Kum, do you think that our men, because most of the times they say men don't usually take care of their health, you think that they take care of their health? Like when they have fever, they will see the need for them to go to hospital. At times you find most of these ones that they do this hard job, difficult, push the truck. When they have fever like this, maybe they don't just go to the hospital, they go by the roadside and get. Do they really take time to take care of their health?
For me, I don't think men really take time to take care of their health. Most men actually spend all their time taking care of others, taking care of their wives, taking care of their children, taking care of their siblings, and forget about themselves. So I don't think men really pay much attention to their health. men only pay attention to their health when it's actually stopping them from doing their work. So I don't think they actually pay attention.
So I would like to add that society made it that way. There's a certain stigma that has been attached to men, being that most of them are the breadwinners of their family. So like practically every other member of the family looks up to them, their wives, their children, as my colleague said. So the men now have taken upon themselves. You hardly even see these men discussing the issues troubling them, even with their partners. And what more if you're someone, you cannot discuss your what you're going through, maybe work stressing you, maybe life is stressing you. I would like to add that suicide rate is more in men than in women, so it's that serious. So suicide rate, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. It is really that serious. So this month I would really like to call on the men to really wake up and discuss these issues.
Do they go through some challenges? Let's look at the challenges that men go through and societal expectations.
They go through normal stresses of life, anxiety, substance abuse, depression, and all of that. And it's because of what the how can I put it? All of this is because of the stigma that the society has placed on it. So the men think that they have to take it upon themselves. They have to be a certain way. You see a woman telling her boy child in her some 2 years that you are a man and you're not supposed to cry. Can you imagine how far? And that's the statement our ancestors have been pulling through to those guys. Is now being transferred from generation to generation. You see a man, a little boy, he'll be like, he's in pain, he's heartbroken. They go through work is first of all stressing them. Some of them, they are going through health issues. They will hear it from their partners. Some of them financial issues. Some of them emotional issues. It's rampant. I'll talk of Boya since we're in Boya today. A lot of boys out there, they want to make it. You see a young boy of 25 years, but he wants to drive a car of a man of 60 years. He wants to be living in a house of somebody who has made it in this life. All of these are items that bring stress onto these men. And if they don't talk about it and they don't find ways of going out of it, it's going to continue increasing the suicide level in the men.
All right. Kum, do you think that women are helping men in terms of their mental health? Because particularly, let me just continue, like what I'm saying, we are talking about Boya, or not just Boya, we're talking about young girls. If you see even the way the young girls put pressure on men, do you think that they're helping them in any way?
I don't really think young girls or wives are helping their husbands or their siblings or their boyfriends on this mental health issue. I think that instead increasing the pressure on them. And life is really stressful for everyone, but if you as a gender, as the female gender, you're increasing your stress and increasing pressure on men, you're not actually helping the mental health of men. You're rather putting them into situations where they can instead adapt maladaptive coping strategies or poor coping strategies, which may instead lead them to mental health disorders.
Okay. Do you think, let's look at when somebody is suffering or a man is having some mental health issues, what are are there some symptoms that you will see, look at this man and say that this man is going through stress? Because at times I used to see somebody, the person is fine, and then when they talk, you hear somebody saying, this man is sick in the head.
Actually, yes, there are certain signs and symptoms that you can see, though it's not generalized. Because I'll take for example, if I'm going through stress and anxiety, I might become very jovial. I don't know if you understand. Why, if Minerva on her own part, I'm using the example of two different individuals. Minerva on her own part is going through stress and depression, but Minerva is sad.
Okay.
Society will make it look like Minerva is the one going through stress, going through a mental health disorder, whereas I too might be going through a mental health disorder. It's not because I am seemingly happy, in quotes, I'll put that in quotes, I'm seemingly happy, in quotes. It's not because I am jovial, because there are people, there are colleagues, we have siblings, we have husbands who they are always on the jovial side of life. Like, they take things, but deep down, there's a pain, they are suffering, they're going through a lot. So it's really a month where the female gender has to sit down and really re-evaluate all of this. We need to pay attention to both our partners, we need to pay attention to our siblings, to our parents, because there's this scenario that every African child will bear with me, that their fathers in the evening, they'll just sit in one corner of the house or outside the house, and he's seriously reflecting. It's true, in his eyes you will see that he's carrying a burden, but one, he will not share with your mother, he will not share with you, the children. But let's take, for example, school is coming now. A lot of parents go through that. They are stressed because the financial obligation, the emotional obligation, and all of that. And the first step towards healing is, first of all, speaking out, having someone in which you can share this. If you don't have someone in which you can share this, many men now are taking drastic bad decisions, like the suicide rate is increasing. If you share it with a problem shared is half solved. You can share that problem maybe with your wife or maybe with your friend. Men just go out, and what they do is they drink, they play football, but you hardly see them organizing groups and saying that, where my boy, you see, like this, I'm going through this and this helps a lot. Just speaking out, the person will not necessarily meet that need of yours, but just you speaking out is going to go a long way. So the women have a major part to play in this campaign of awareness.
All right, you are a nurse. I want to ask if you come across somebody, a man who is having mental health issue. Have you ever come across such a situation?
Yes, I've actually come across men with mental health issues in the hospital, and most of the men I've come across, they really do not come at the early stage because they do not know they're having issues. Only at the later stage when things have gotten complicated. So this month I really wish to call on everyone to make sure that if you don't have a brother, you don't have anyone around you, look at your neighbors, the male gender, and try to ensure that their mental health stays in stake, and it's okay.
All right. Well, let's look at, you already started mentioning some coping strategies like talking to someone, but we know men, they have pride. They will keep everything to themselves and they want to be strong all the time. Because at one time I went to Limbe at the Botanic Garden there, I saw women. They came there they just had a reflection, just women. They are sitting in a quiet corner, quiet and taking time, but you hardly find men doing this. Apart from talking to each other, what other coping strategies should be put in place by these men?
So before I go to the coping strategies, I would love to say that 77% of men have gone through mental health disorders. 40% of them have never spoken up. Can you imagine? Like 40% of men have never spoken up, while 29% of them feel like they're ashamed. Like this is stigma. 29% of them, while another 20% think that it has a negative impact if they speak up. So other coping strategies they could use in this mental health, we since we are doing the tour, there's this therapist that works with us, and she was like, journaling. You write down when you feel emotions, either you're happy or you're sad. One coping strategy, aside from talking, you buy a small booklet. It's not that expensive, and you write down what you're feeling. As you're writing down, and that's something I've been practicing too. It helps a lot when you write down. Thirdly, I'll go for exercising. Exercising is a very good coping strategy for mental health. So when we say exercising, it must not mean that you must have a lot of money, go to the gym and all of that. No, you can just make it your routine. You even pull your wife and your kids in the evening. You guys just walk a distance. It releases hormones that relieve stress, anxiety, and all other disorders. Another strategy is doing what you love the most. I'll say for my husband, when he's stressed, he just tells me he wants to travel. That's his hobby. It's true that it's kind of a little expensive, because when you travel you have to go and learn, but that's what makes him happy. And when he tells me he wants to travel, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Do what makes you happy. Because when you change town, you go, you meet new people, maybe you eat new food and all the rest. It relieves your mind away from family, away from work and all of that. Then men should learn how to create support groups. Like, these are groups of people at work, in the family, and your neighborhood who are trusted. Because this thing to talking does not mean that you should talk to anybody.
Okay.
Exactly. You does not mean that you should talk to anybody. Not everybody is quite educated on this topic of mental health. There are people you go and talk to and they will laugh at you and instead make your situation worse. Get worse. So the men should know who to talk to and who not to talk to. I'll prefer your close family members who kind of understand, because when you're talking to somebody and the person is like, just leave that thing, and the person does not understand you, it worsens your situation. It was better you didn't even make the first step in talking. So men should develop that concept of creating support groups. And there's apart from support groups, men should go for therapy. I don't know what men these days, it's very important for anybody to go for therapy. Therapy is relieving, because when you see a therapist, she has particular techniques peculiar to every individual. So these men should actually go for this therapy, and they're going to see is really going to help them.
Mm-hmm. Do you have something to add on the coping strategies?
Yes, for the coping strategies, as my colleague earlier said, you can add hug therapy. You can add a hug, just giving a hug to somebody you really trust or you like. It can
It's
actually
relieving,
help
yes.
to relieve you of that stress. Like just hugging someone releases happy hormones that help you to calm down your stress, your anxiety, depression. You can also engage in deep breathing exercises. Breathing in deeply actually helps you to calm down your stress. So I think that's what I can add to what you said.
All right, thank
Or
you.
observing nature too.
Like we just
Like
go
what
to
you
Just- yes.
It's just going to where there's nature. You observe, it calms down your.
All right,
Very
thank you.
important.
Televiewers, we are talking about men's mental health awareness month. It's June this month. We are all almost going to the end of the month, and I don't believe that. I don't even think even up to 70% of men are aware of this. We can say those in the medical field can be aware,
Yeah.
but not other. But awareness is not created when it comes to this. People hardly create awareness. What's wrong?
Like I said, the stigma that has been attached to men's mental health. I would say this year even, the awareness around it has even increased than last year. Mental health now in the public health agenda is becoming a pandemic. It's attacking basically everybody. Like a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, yes, is going through stress of life. So I will advise that yes, even parents, talk to your children. It's mental health. Call your 2-year-old, ask him what's bothering you. Those are when you start talking to your children, you are going to listen to what they are going to tell you. So yes, this month is really important. I think that this year, non-governmental organization and the government has kind of done a little bit more than last year in creating awareness, sensitization, and I think it's really a big and a great move.
You just made me laugh because my neighbor's child, Davina, one day she was so quiet and sitting her in her corner. 2 years, and I was asking what is wrong. The mother said she's going through stress. It was
You
so
can
funny.
imagine.
It was so funny. Like, what is disturbing
For you cannot imagine that a 2-year-old is going so stressed. At that point, she has what's bothering her, Madam Ali, which is totally different from what can be bothering you. So she has her own problems.
All right, is mental health different from madness?
Yes. So madness, in the medical term, we will not call it that way. Yes, we will not call it that. There are many. How can I put it? Diagnoses that can be attached to that symptom. Because yes, so. Generally in Africa, when we see somebody, there are many people who have had mental health disorders and they were just categorized as mad. Whereas these people were to be taken in by a health professional, given therapy or the right treatment, and I'm very sure they would have found their real senses. But since many people are not even aware, they were just abandoned. They started moving in markets and everywhere, and they just became worse. So yes.
Okay, there's a message here. Let me just take this message. This person says, greetings, hi television, an interesting topic. Men are going through a lot nowadays, coupled with the fact that soon schools will resume. My question is, how can you as a man know that you are going through mental health issues?
Okay, there are certain points you can use in going when you are stressed. There's this demand it has on your mind. You are not how can I put it? You are not okay. You are not okay. You fear for the future actually. When you start realizing that you fear from the future, you have mood swings, you have your behaviors just change suddenly, changes in humor. Like you, this minute you are happy, the next minute you are sad, and you cannot actually put a finger on what's actually making you sad. Then at that point in time, maybe you are going towards a mental health disorder. I don't know if my colleague has something to add regarding that.
I don't think I have anything to add to that,
Okay.
except of what you said. So you just have to identify if you're having some different feelings, you're having some different mood swings, if your moods are just changing without any specific cause, or you're behaving with people around you differently from the way you used to behave without actually pointing out an exact cause for that. So,
But there are some people, especially there are some men who are, they have been quiet from small, and they are, until they are grown, they are still quiet. Can we say they are going through some mental health issue? Because even when you see people talking, people getting together, people laughing, they will always isolate themselves.
That I'm saying the mental health diagnosis is per person, but I will not generalize saying that anybody who looks quiet, or some people are just naturally timid, some people are naturally reserved. So somebody being reserved does not directly mean that the person might be suffering from a mental health disorder. So no, it's a series of symptoms put together before one can actually conclude that this person is suffering from a mental health disorder.
In Cameroon, do we have centers? Do we have specialists that take care of somebody's mental health?
Yes, I think the Cameroon Baptist Convention (CBC) does that. They have a mental health unit. Even here at the regional hospital, there's actually a mental health center there. Then there are various non-governmental organizations too, because as I was saying, mental health is becoming the order of the day. If you're not okay in your mind, physically you will not be fine. So that's why non-governmental organizations have seized this opportunity, and they are gaining projects and being funded to actually tackle this problem. So yes, in Cameroon and in Buea here, I think in major regional hospitals they have this unit, the mental health unit, where you have therapists, you have psychosocial agents, you have counselors who take care of this particular health issue.
It's very common in the Western world to see somebody suffering from mental health issue, go and meet somebody, a therapist to talk to. But here in Africa, in Cameroon, it's difficult. I don't know. They don't see the need for that. And what's the risk factor if you are going through mental health and you don't talk about it? Maybe you have a problem, you keep it to yourself. As a man, what are the risk factors?
the risk of keeping a mental health issue to yourself is that it keeps accumulating. And unfortunately, as it accumulates, the time it bursts out, it's at a point or a level where maybe it cannot be reversed or be managed for it to go back. So this month is very important to create mental health awareness among men, so they should know that if you're going through some stresses, don't go for screening just because you're sick or you feel like you're mentally down. Just go for screening, because screening is a very difficult thing for Africans and for Cameroonians, people in Buea especially, to do. So it's a reminder for everyone to ensure that they go for screening, regular screening, just to know how you're doing, especially in the field of mental health. When you do your regular screening, your therapist will help you with very healthy coping strategies that you can use to remain mentally stable and avoid the risks of accumulating stressors that can burst out into a very complicated mental health disorder that cannot be managed.
I equally want to add that when these men don't recognize that some of them have mental health issues, they sit down and take their own decisions. Like some dive into substance abuse. You just see somebody who was not in the past was not a smoker becomes a smoker, somebody starts drinking chronically, somebody goes into these hard drugs and all. So these are a few things that really needs awareness, because when you sit on your own and you are not even able to say that yes, you are going through this disease, and you don't talk to somebody, you might just end up taking your own decision. Some people will say they've had enough and just suicide, and they just end it all. So it's really, really important that we try to get this awareness and help those around us.
What is expected of the society? What is the society supposed to do to help these men? I'll start with you.
Okay, first I will say the awareness has to be created, like this particular month. It should not only be that it's in the month of June we'll be talking about mental health awareness. June has 30 days, that's finishing, so does it mean that apart from June we cannot have conferences or other outdoor programs talking about? So awareness needs to increase at the level of civil societies, at the level of the government, at the level of the non-governmental organization. Awareness needs to be done. Then secondly, I would like to say that the men need to be aware that they need to first of all take care of their own mental health, because you cannot help somebody if the person does not know that he actually needs the help. So they need to be aware that they actually need the help. Then the female gender too needs to come as a support to help these men. In Africa generally, I don't know why people are scared, or some of them don't even know. If you go to the communities now and ask people just briefly about mental health, I doubt if somebody is going to really tell you what mental health. They will just call madness. When anybody hears about mental health today, directly it's madness that comes to their mind. Whereas no, the project we are doing in communities and in schools, we have met children, as you said, that 2-year-old. We have met children less than 10 years. We have met children 10 years to 24 who have mental health disorders, and serious ones even. Because what we do is that when cases are being sent to us, and when they are serious, we have to refer them. We offer psychosocial support. So it's kind of a counseling and therapy, where we give them resilience building and coping strategies to be able to deal with life stressors. So yes, these younger children are even going through a lot. You have bullying in schools, you have problems that their parents are dealing with who are affecting these children and all. So at every age, therapy is needed, if I'll put it that way. At every age, therapy is needed. So we should prioritize in Africa. We scare a lot from the hospital, from getting therapy, whereas it's even useful. At times, we even go in the community. We have met challenges in the community where we go to offer our services, and the parents send us away. They send our educators away. That no, yes, that the child is going to get worse, or they don't want to diagnose. They don't want that their child should be diagnosed because they are not being able to treat the child. It might lead to madness. Can you imagine? Whereas these youths want to talk. These youths need help, but if their parents don't give us access to them, we will not be able to help them.
All right, we are talking about expectations from the society. We know a lot of, at times they say the woman's mouth is running, always running. You see the way a woman will talk to the husband, you see the way the woman will insult the husband, or maybe a neighbor will insult the husband, will talk to somebody. What do you think the society needs to do to support these men?
What the society needs to support these men, I think the society needs to understand those things that they do that affect men's mental health. For instance, what you just explained, talking rudely to a man, the body shaming a man, things like that, actually they affect the mental health of a man. So I think the society should create more awareness on men, on women, and everybody should know what you can do to an individual, and since a man is an individual, what you can do to an individual to increase their stresses or maybe affect their mental health, so that those things will be avoided and you will not be a reason why a man is dying in silence or a man is causing suicide. So I think the society should continue creating awareness. NGOs, as my colleague rightly said, the government and civil society should actually put more effort into creating awareness on mental health.
All right, thank you. Ruth, this one I'm going to ask you is a bit funny. I know we are not talking about relationship issues here, but you talk about men's mental health. At times, I believe that these men themselves are the ones that bring this upon themselves, because you find a man, a married man, he has about 5 side chicks, and he's struggling to hide them. He's struggling to hide. How am I going to go here without this person seeing me? All those things, they bring stress on the man. And the trending now is there's no boy, there's no man who can go out with one. Don't you think that those are the stressors that are adding on themselves?
Yeah, I think that that can equally account on what's stressing, but majority of the men will not explain it the way you just did.
They will say they are instead releasing.
Exactly, yes. They will say their wife and their children are stressing them at home, so they are going outside so that the side chick will relieve them of their problem. You see a man, he's barely able to feed his wife and his children in the house, but he's outside there with several side chicks, and some even go as far as even spending more on the side chick than even on the wife at home. So that's not a behavior I will really advise men to take. And yes, as you said, is kind of detrimental, because as you said, he's hiding. His wife is not supposed to see this side chick, or for them who have even several. It's a whole job because the man going to go and see this lady, she has to take precautionary measures that he should not be caught, your children or your neighbors or your family members. That's even stressful for nothing, because I think that if a man focuses on his wife and his children, the society is going to be better.
What do you think? I'll still come back to you. What do you think? Let's look at organizations, companies. What do you think they should do to help men in their mental health?
What actually we are doing now, we are giving free psychosocial first aid to youths 10 to 24 years old. So organizations can create these safe spaces where these men come together, because abroad it exists. There are support groups. They call them support groups and safe spaces. What are these support groups or safe spaces? We have for different illnesses. We have for people, I'll just use example. A group of people might be having HIV. Yes, and they meet and they discuss their challenges, how to pull through. So yes, these organizations can open safe spaces. Safe spaces are spaces where these men will come and list their different challenges. They are going to express themselves freely, and it's going to be confidential. It's not none of their information is going to leave that group. Also, this organization can create therapy session and counseling session for these men. That's professional health services for these men to come there and relieve themselves while giving them individualized and specialized techniques. They can also organize resilience building sessions, make these men to be aware that this is detrimental for your mental health. You can actually do this to be able to cope with life stresses. How can you do work-life balance and all of these? How groups even for exercising, tourism, various hobbies that will make them like to feel really relieved. So yes, these non-governmental organizations can really go a long way to helping these men achieve a stable mental health.
Let me come to you. We have companies that have workers, especially the ones that are doing this. I don't want to call names here, but we know that there are companies that you find men doing felling down trees, doing all sorts of
tedious work.
Yeah. What do you think that, or what would you advise that these people do to these men? Because what they are concerned with is that if they are working, let me say 15 hours, you have to put in that 15 hours. What do you think that they can do to help these men? Because normally only the workload is stress on them. What should they do?
What companies can do to encourage output, first of all, is by incorporating health services. Every company needs to have a health service, because if your employee is not sound, if your employee is not healthy, your employee will not be productive. So I think companies should incorporate health services which not only look at the physical well-being of their employees, because I know of companies that actually have their employees screened regularly for physical health, but the aspect of mental health has really been overlooked. So I think when they're incorporating these health services, they should also incorporate they should also incorporate the aspect of mental health. And during the aspect of mental health, as my colleague rightly said, they can organize sessions, regular sessions. If they don't have a standard health service, they can invite therapists to come and have resilient building sessions with them. Or they have counselors where those workers can actually get to them and talk to them and actually feel relief and be also productive, because mental health deals with how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. And also in mental health, it helps you. Mental health also deals with you being able to cope with the stresses of life, the normal stresses of life. So if you incorporate these aspects of mental health or health services in your company, you help your employees to discover more of their potentials, will help them to be able to cope with those stresses of life, and also be able to be productive and help the growth of your company. So I think it's a very important aspect that many companies might have been putting out. So I think they should incorporate it to help their employees work better and be productive.
That's true, because you see some companies, it's just work. Even to organize a small party where all the workers can come and they socialize, they laugh.
They're only thinking of how to get their money.
No, they work from morning till night. Okay, you just both of you make mention of this aspect of the way A will react to something is different from the way B will react to something. And she just said something important, that you should be able, if your mental health is okay, you should be able to cope with all the stresses of life, the normal stresses of life that comes your way. Now, I don't know. Like you said, I'm a bit confused. A would approach it differently, B will approach it differently, and then you say you should be able to cope with the normal stresses of life. Can you please explain so that?
Like I said before, we both might be having a tedious one. Let's take the example you gave. Both of us are working maybe for a cooperative, and our duty is to two men. Their duty is to fell trees. Let's say both of them have one wife each and two kids. One of them is comfortable with his salary, is comfortable with the treatment the boss is giving him, is comfortable with the other colleagues, whereas the other one is going through a mental health disorder. Why? He's not happy with that situation. Two individuals are different, even if they are going through the same scenario. And you might even see that one person who is even going through a mental health disorder might be even the jovial one. Like the one who comes every day early to work, he's jovial, he's all smiling, but he's the one who is being eaten by his series of problems and all. Maybe family problems are weighing on him, financial problems are weighing on him. So yes, in the society today, even two siblings don't react to situations the same way. So that's basically how everyone should see it. It is practically different. That's why even during therapy session, the therapy session you are going to give to two siblings will not be the same. It will not be the same. So two people they react separately to what life throws at them.
Like you see a situation where maybe two people, somebody lost somebody, and the person quickly overcome, and is pulling through.
Exactly.
And then you see another person that lost somebody, and the person is the person is down and all that.
Or some people even lost a loved one. I have a friend recently, he has lost his dad, and I'm going through his status, and he's all smiling. When I go to his WhatsApp status, even when he posts his dad, the sticker he posts, he's actually smiling. He has been going out, but since I'm into mental health, I know that he's going through something. I know, because I've known him before, so I know that he's going through something. But that's his own way of reacting to what has happened to him, actually. And I seriously think he needs to see a therapist, because he's all jovial. I see him, he's going out with friends. They are going to clubbing, actually, but the relationship we had with his father was really close, and I know he's hurt, I know he's wounded, and I know he has to talk to somebody. He needs to heal. But he's all jovial. He's all... I even read a story on Twitter the other day, a woman who lost her child, and this friend of hers was the one narrating the story. She came to her, she's taking care of her, and she said she's surprised that people should help her because she does not know what to do. this her friend who has lost the child, she's all over social media, she's laughing, she's having fun, she's eating. She does not know who needs help actually, because she's feeling like she's the one that actually needs help. The woman was just so comfortable. So you see that we have different ways of how we go through our pain, we go through the stress. So it's different. It's different. You see that if those two people go to a therapist, their treatment techniques will be different. Yes, the therapist is not going to treat them same. It's going to give them different therapy techniques.
You talked about screening. Is it that somebody can just sit and decide to go for screening? I thought that maybe it's when you start seeing some symptoms and then you go for screening. Can I just sit like this and say I want to go for mental health screening?
Yes, it's very, very important for you to go for mental health screening without seeing signs and symptoms. Waiting to see the signs and symptoms. Some signs and symptoms might actually just arise when the situation is already worse. So when you go for your regular screening, you get to learn from the therapist how you can cope with those normal stresses of life, and also to avoid the onset of worse mental health disorders. As we all know, prevention is better than cure, so it's always very important to go for screening.
At times there are even symptoms that will be there, like insomnia. Some people have insomnia. Some people develop insomnia because they are stressed. At a certain point in time, sleep just goes off, and you just see your problems start figuring all over your mind. So at times that you need to go for screening, because there are symptoms you might think that they are normal, whereas those symptoms are not normal. When you actually see now a specialist, when you go for screening, the person will pinpoint that. They will tell you, they'll ask you a simple question: when last did you do this? When last did you feel stressed? When last did you feel desperate? When last did you feel suicidal? How often was that? And all of this item, how many hours of sleep? There are people that don't get 8 hours of sleep in per night. That's a serious sign. Somebody might just sit and say, no, that na so a day, but he does not know that that's an upcoming is tilting towards a mental health disorder. So when you go for screening now, the therapist now is going to point out all this to you, and you'll be shocked by what is going to be revealed.
Okay, what advice can you give to men? For example, this thing, it keeps coming. I didn't want to say it. You have some men in our society that are being beaten by their wives, and they go through a lot, and it's shameful for them to go and be talking about it. You also have some men that they have nagging wives. You also have some men that they have cheating. Their wives is cheating on them. They are going through a lot. Even ones that the men, their own parents are putting pressure on them. Financial pressure, marital pressure, all of these things is going on in the life of a man. What advice do you have out there for the men?
I would love to tell the men that you first of all have to recognize, start by loving yourself. Nobody can love you better than yourself. Tell yourself that amidst all what is going on, I'm human, I have feelings, and I deserve to live. When you start from there, those other things are secondary. If every man starts by loving himself, even if you have a nagging wife, and again, an abusive partner is not the one to stay with. I will not want to say it's shameful, because yes, in Africa we are used to the fact that it's the man who beats on the wife. But in this situation, Madam Alice, I'll bet you the statistics are increasing. Actually, there are men who are victim of domestic violence, but they don't speak up because there's a stigma attached to it. It's shameful. And you just hear one day that the man has died. You are asking yourself what happened. He was looking happy with his wife and so and so, but he kept on keeping. He will even go amongst his friends. He cannot utter a word because they'll be like, you are a weakling. How can you let that happen to you? How can you let your wife beat you up and all and all? So men need to know when to say, I've had it up to here. If you have that parent or that sibling that each time you see their message, they're asking you for money, block that person. Yes, it's as easy as that. Because Madam Alice, the thing I would love to tell the men is that if they die today, life will go on. Actually, so life goes on. That problem you're fighting to solve today, if you're no longer there, the next minute they'll be cooking big pots of food in your backyard. Your wife is putting you pressure on this amount of money, then she might get married. and another man will come to raise your kids. So they should calm down on, no, I'm the breadwinner, I have to provide for this, this and this. No, my parents are this. If you die today, your parents will, they're going to transfer that problem to maybe another person, and forget about you. Many partners have died today, and their partners have been married. So the men need to calm down. Start by loving yourself. Know when you've done your maximum. Like, I've done enough for my wife, for my children. We are not saying that the men should become careless and not meet the needs of their family, but know when to sit back and say, yes, me too, I deserve a break. Me too, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to take maybe this vacation. I deserve to go and take a drink. I deserve to go and take a walk out from that abusive relationship. We just have one life. If you die today, people are going to move on like nothing happened. It's just few minutes. The same day, Madam Alice, people go to the bar to drink when they are burying people.
When the corpse is still,
the corpse is still fresh. So yes, that same day people will start cooking your house and giving food. They will start cooking and giving food to people. So the men, when you think about life like this, you stop stressing about a lot of things. You really stop stressing about, even about work. Maybe there's a task that has been pending and is really burdening on you. If you die today, that company will replace you tomorrow. The next minute, another person will come and continue. So when we think about all of this, we need to reduce the amount of stress we have put on ourselves, and the men especially, they need to reduce the amount of stress they put themselves through.
Wow, coming from an expert, I think that was good. Your own advice, that was really good.
My own advice to the men is that since the mental health awareness is being created, and we advise them to create safe spaces and support groups for themselves, they should actually take this into consideration and do such, so that they'll be able to actually cope with their stresses, and they should also go for screenings, and also understand that you cannot give what you don't have. If you're not healthy, you cannot give health to your children, to your family, to your loved ones. So I think the men should consider creating safe spaces, support groups, we go for regular screening, and take care of their health, and especially their mental health.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm really very happy with this topic of today, because in Africa, like you said, is something that the man is supposed to take care of everything, and they know that that's the African tradition. And you kill yourself in the process. You have to take care of yourself. There is a point, like she said, there is a point you have to say that no, I cannot continue. Let me also take care of myself. Nobody should stress you. I was discussing with some of my colleagues, and I said, there's nobody, you should not allow people to stress you up. Nobody should stress you up. You have your life, and you do what you feel that you can do, so long as that thing is decent, so long as that thing is right. So don't allow anybody to stress you up.
So actually, I don't even think worrying about a problem or a situation, like maybe you have this problem that worrying does not actually take away the problem.
It even adds to it, because you have developed headache.
Exactly. So worrying does not think about the problem. So why sit all day and think? You start developing, because when the mind is troubled, then you start even developing physical diseases. So that's actually
that's true. Worrying like that does not take away the problem. You still try to consider the fact that, can I solve this problem? If I cannot solve it, then let the problem be.
Yes, just let the problem be.
Don't keep yourself worried because of a problem that does not even have a solution. So let go of the problem and focus on something that's better, or something that you can handle.
All right. We'll just close the session by us maybe talking about where to go to. You said people also have somebody who is going through. You must not even go through anything. Just go and do your screening.
At the Lifafa Research Foundation, we are actually pulling through a project promoting mental health amongst youth, but we are dealing with 10 to 24 years old. So what we are out to do, we are out to create awareness amongst this youth. We are out to improve the specialized mental health services. We are also out to give psychosocial first aid. Then we are out now to demystify the concept of mental health, because many people think that mental health is spiritual, that some is madness, or that they just threw it to somebody. So yes, when our services are free, you see our therapists, we give referrals, we give resilience building sessions and counseling sessions. We have a group of experts. When you come there, we are going to treat you very well, give you advice how to cope with the stresses of life, and it's absolutely free of charge.
Okay. Take home message.
Okay, a take-home message from me is that men be responsible of your health, be responsible of your mental health. Women support the men to know that your mental health is important. Identify those things that you do to men that affects them badly and ensure that you stop doing those things so that the men will remain healthy mentally and productive in the society. Thank you.
All right, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would say that the men, you really have to take your own mental health in your hand, because nobody can love you the way you love yourself.
All right, shout out to all the men out there, and I'm encouraging all the ladies, all the mothers, all the wives, okay, the sisters. Encourage your siblings, your husband, your children to go for screening. You must not fall sick. You must not start behaving funny before you think that you will go to see a therapist. It's important that you just get up. You as a wife, even take your husband, come and let's go to this therapist. Let's see if our mental health is okay. That's good. It's high time we start taking care of our health. It's very important. It's been done in the Western world, but here it's a bit timid. But I believe that with the awareness that has been created recently, these things are going to be taken into consideration. That's how we saw it on this edition of the program, dear ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for watching. The rebroadcast of this program comes out this Friday at 2 o'clock. Make sure you join us next week for another edition, and stay tuned to High Television.